Sziasztok. Hello ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me. Today I'm on HEV line 5, that's one of the Budapest suburban railways, and we're heading towards Szentendre, which is the final station. The reason we're going there is because that's where the Urban Transport Museum is, so we'll be able to see various trains and trams and urban transport. And we're just coming into Szentendre now. There we are, big Alamash, so when we get out we're going to see the museum. So here we are, we've arrived at Szentendre. So we get out here, my first time on the station, it's a winning station for me. It's the unit we've just been travelling on. Quite nice old units, I really enjoyed that trip. Now the museum, well firstly, over there is the depot. Interesting vehicle there, I'm not sure if it's a loco or if it's an old passenger carriage, but it seems to have what looks like a snowplow on the front, so maybe they send that out on snow cleaning duties. Now I don't think we can go any further beyond here, but here, look, here is the museum. Look, there's a steam loco in there. So I'm hoping when we get in the museum, we'll be able to walk around and have a closer look at them. So I've got to find my way out the station. Let's go and find this museum. So I've just paid to come in. Now let's have a look around the museum. I'm not too clued up on buses, but I will show them to you. There's this one here. It's got some bits cut away so you can see the structure of the bus, and if I put the camera inside, there's no glass in the windows, see where people would sit, and then there's the holes you can see through to the chassis. Here we have some trolley buses. Now in Budapest it's easy to know what a trolley bus is without looking up at the wires, because some of the routes do go away from the wires. Trolley bus routes are always red, or the trolley buses themselves are red. The motor buses are blue, the trams are yellow, and the HEV lines are green. This is inside a trolley bus. So like I say, you can ride trolley buses in Budapest still, but only on the Pest side. Debrecen and Szeged, other cities in Hungary, also have trolley buses. The other cities that have trams is Miskolc, but that doesn't have a trolley bus network. I visited Miskolc earlier in the year because I went to the Lilla Furid narrow gauge railway, and I travelled on the modern trams to get there. But the tramway in Miskolc has been modernised so much it doesn't feel like an Eastern European tram system anymore. It feels more like a modern French or Spanish tram system. Anyway, I'll concentrate on the buses. So this is inside another trolley bus, and then we'll make our way around to the hall where the trams are. So I do like riding trolley buses, but if I go somewhere and there's trams, the trams would take my priority. I actually almost prefer where you go somewhere with just a little trolley bus system, perhaps somewhere like Debrecen, then I probably would make a point of riding all the routes. But yeah, I wish we had some in the UK, just to make the public transport more interesting. We nearly got some in Leeds, but we never did in the end. Of course there were trolley buses in lots of cities in the UK once. Not so sure what this is. Well, some sort of road transport, I know that, but it's like, you know, those road trains you get, but it isn't made to look like a train, even though technically it is a train, because a train is a few vehicles all coupled together. It doesn't necessarily have to be on rails. Out there's some items of rolling stock, if you can see them, where it's meant to be restored. They look like they're awaiting restoration. Here is a Volkswagen, and we're going to go around and have a look. Oh, here's one other thing up this end of the building. So I assume this is sort of for taking tourists around Budapest. It might even be electric, I'm not sure. There's a tram here. Now these Gons trams, you can still see them in service. This is 1478, so this is obviously one that has been scrapped. Showing Route 19. It's funny because I came on Route 19 this morning from where I was staying to get here, and I passed through Muri Sigmund to Kerter, which we saw in the picture earlier. So this one must have been scrapped, but it's cabs here because I haven't got an up-to-date list at the moment, so I'm still looking out for trams which may well have been scrapped. But when the CAF trams arrived in Budapest, they began to withdraw some of the Gons trams, but some of them, the 1300 series, which date back to 1967, there's quite a number of them still in service. I even went on the Pioneer one, 1301, yesterday. So this is the old depot. Actually inside the old depot building. Some vehicles outside, we're going to look at them in a minute, but what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn the camera around and reveal to you what I have to show you. So let's have a look at some of these vehicles. So on this side we've got the quite obvious tram. Should we go inside? This one of the nostalgic ones, number 418. Let's have a look inside it. Here we go, look at this. Oh, this is exciting. You can still ride vintage trams in Budapest, nothing I really should do, but I haven't done. But it'd be great, you know, having a ride through Budapest on one of these. Let's have a look, we'll move on to the next one. Very excited by the look of that steam train over there. Let's go on to this one now, see what we can find in here. So this is where the driver would have driven it from. There'd be a handle for driving. This is the interior. This is a bit more modern. I believe this tram dates to quite into the 1900s, fairly early 1900s. So it's still quite an old tram. If we come out here, we get a good view of that steam train, although it's like a tram engine. What it would have done, that would have worked the line, I understand that would have worked the line we came up on. So if we'd done this 100 years ago, that may well have been our transport up here. So it's, if you take away all the outside, it is just like a conventional steam engine. You can see the boiler on the front. You can see inside. I mean, you can see the smoke box on the front rather. This is the boiler. So take all this away and it's just like a conventional steam engine. Built in 1887 to works number 1941. That could be the other way around actually. I'm fairly sure it's 1887. Built, that's when it's restored in 1987 by the look of it. This is one of the carriages. See we pulled along. I'll go around here, see what else we can find. It's great when they find a use for these old depots because really it is the best place to have a museum like this. Sometimes you have these museums in modern buildings and it never feels quite right, but to have them all lined up in an old depot, you know, and what I like about this museum, it's not trying to be something it isn't. It's not trying to be like a theme park or anything. It purely is a museum of urban transport. So if you're interested in urban transport, you come here. If you're not interested, you might come here to have a look and be quite fascinated by it. But you know, some museums, they're trying to be all these, you know, trying to be theme parks and that. And I think, you know, this one hasn't done that, and it's not sort of lost the whole point of it. A lot of museums seem very interested in attracting people who have no interest in the subject, but here, this is exactly how I like a transport museum to be. And it is nice, you can just, you know, walk on and off the trams and have a good look around. There's an interesting tram out there, one I can actually remember in service. So once we get past that, we'll go and have a look. So also, like I said, the HEV lines are green, so pretty much anything that's green is HEV, whether it's a wagon, a carriage, a steam tram. It's perhaps the one exception to this rule. Like I say, these trams are yellow. There is this tram here. This isn't yellow, but it is. It says nostalgic Villamos. Villamos is the Hungarian word for tram. So there's this one. Yeah, see, these quite old ones. These are yellow. We'll go down here. I won't go in every single one of them because it takes a while, but they're all quite similar inside. The one I particularly want to show you is this vehicle here. This is what sometimes known as the two-room and a bath trams, or the Bengalis, because they say they're a bit like travelling in India. I can remember these in service in Debrecen. When I first visited Debrecen, it was before Route 2 had been built. They were building Route 2. I did have a ride on one. They were part of the reserve fleet, so if necessary they would get one out. And I remember being in Debrecen city centre. It was when I was doing a university. I was at the university doing a short course, and I was walking around with some of the girls that were on the course. I remember one of these came along. I said to them, I was carrying one of their bags, and I pretty much said, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to go. I put a bag on the floor and ran off and had a ride on one of these. I'm really pleased I did it because I don't think I'd have ever got a chance to ride one in service again. There's a, I'm not sure what that is, maybe some sort of inspection vehicle, but yeah, I'm really pleased. I did ride one. I think this one is an ex-Miskolc vehicle because I noticed, yeah, on the side, the destination, well, earlier on I noticed the NKV, which is possibly Miskolc Villamush. See, it says Tisa Paudva up there, so that Paudva is like a big railway station, and that is the main railway station in Miskolc, so that's how I guessed it was a Miskolc vehicle. Go through here. Another interesting vehicle that I always wondered what happened to it is this one here. This was a prototype tram. It was in service in Budapest. I think they built this one. I think there was maybe a second one built. I might be wrong on that, but that got scrapped. And then this one ran for a while, but eventually it was withdrawn. It's ended up here because for a while I think it was in one of the Budapest's tram depots. So I'm pleased to have found out what happened to that vehicle. Another freight wagon. Got this rather interesting looking electric locomotive here. So this looks like another HGV locomotive. And yeah, so let's have a look at the front of this one. That's pretty cool. A lot of the trams and the locomotives have these bow collectors rather than trolley poles. So a bow collector, you can see how it collects rather than a pantograph. It's sprung up a bit like a trolley pole really. Probably less prone to dewirements, where you can't really dewire like you can with a trolley pole. These vehicles here, these are Gons trams. These were in service in Budapest in my lifetime. I don't actually ever remember seeing them in service, but it's good to see them. There's still quite a few around. I've seen some are in, been preserved maybe in people's gardens and various other places, so they are still around. There's this one here with a trailer car down there, and then, as I said, there's that prototype tram. In front of us is this locomotive here, which I really quite like the look of. There's something quite interesting as we go around here. Not sure why this vehicle is red. Oh, outside, out there is today's HEV lines. You can just see that electric loco, number 85, which we spotted earlier. So every now and then you hear trains going past. This tram here is interesting because if you look, it's not standard gauge, it's narrow gauge, and I was thinking it can't be a Budapest tram because I don't think there was ever any narrow gauge in Budapest. So from having a look, going up to here, looks like we can go into the driver's cab, but not in the tram itself. I can reveal where it's from. Going by the pictures and the writing, I've realised it's from Szentendre, which is Hungary's 10th largest city, and it is also the city where my obsession with Hungary started. When I was at college, we went there on a college trip to study national parks in Hungary. It was an exchange trip. The Hungarians came to England to study English, and we went to Hungary to study national parks. We stayed in Szentendre, and I remember seeing a couple of the old trams. I think Szentendre's tram network closed in 1974, so it's a shame it didn't survive. But we saw one in the city centre and another tram in someone's garden. Here we get a good side-on view of that locomotive. And then if we walk down the side of this, so Szentendre's trams I think are metre gauge. The other big city in Hungary to lose its trams, which is a bit of a shame, was Page. That had them until 1960. This tram vehicle here is an even narrower gauge. Look, you can see, I've got look, standard gauge, metre gauge, and then that gauge there, that is 760 millimetres. And this tram comes from Nyíregyháza, which is another city to have lost trams. And Nyíregyháza, until not so long ago, had a huge narrow gauge network. In fact, I think most of it's still there, it just doesn't run anymore. So this is a tram from Nyíregyháza. And then down here, we get a good view of the end of the prototype tram, quite different looking. And there's another electric locomotive. I like the number V25001, so when I get to 25,001 subscribers, there'll be a picture of this locomotive posted, because those of you who watch my videos may see I look for numbers of locos, trains, etc. that have got more subscribers, and I've got one. We reach that many subscribers, we post a picture of it. So when we get to 25,001 subscribers, look out for this engine. That's the Szentendre tram. We're going to walk down here, and then behind me is the carriage from Nyíregyháza. I'll have to go to Nyíregyháza one day. like to go and have a look around. It just seems a bit of a shame its extensive narrow gauge network has gone. Yet another big city in Hungary, which also had a narrow gauge network until fairly recently, was Kecskemét, and it's got well over 100,000 people, but has no form of urban transit on rails. It just has buses, no trolley buses or trams. I don't think it ever had trams. So we've seen mainly vehicles, I say, from Budapest, and then we've seen some from Miskolc, Szombathely and Nyíregyháza. We're going to go outside now and walk along here, get a great view. Also like the curved concrete roof of the depot. So the depot itself, in England, what they'd call would be a Grade 2 listed building, because it's quite iconic. It also appears to be wired still. There's overhead wires. Now whether they're live, I don't know. Great view around here. I think that cow is to talking about the Siemens Combinos when they arrived, because if we have a look on the side, if you look at it sideways on, it's painted up like a tram and it says Cowbino rather than Combino. Anyway, let's go outside. I think then that will conclude our tour of the museum, because there's still more to see out here. Here we have a few more trams and some diesel locomotives, another HGV vehicle, number 802. We can go inside this one, so if we can, it's not too dissimilar to what we travelled up here on. These diesel locos are cool. It'd be great if they could restore them and have them, you know, working specials up and down the HGV line. Let's go inside and look at this. Yeah, so this is quite, the one I came on had it had 3 bays of seats between each door, whilst this one, it has what, 5 sets of doors, yeah, and then 1 big window with 4 seats. The one I came on had lots of little windows, almost a little bit similar. It reminded me of the layout of the windows to the new Piccadilly line trains, which we're going to be getting in London quite soon. And you've got these 2 diesel locomotives here, some more trams. I'm not so sure on the exact what their roles were or which city they're from. From looking in tram depots in Budapest, looking through the sides, even in the last 10 years, you'd see that electric locomotive down the end, you'd see those around. There's another diesel locomotive, 7400. As we head down here, we're now going to near where we started the video, where we arrived at the station, because as we said, we looked through here and I said, I wonder if we'll be able to go out there. Well, here we are out here. So what I'll probably do is we'll try and watch a train go past on the main line. I think it'd be a nice way to end the video, because I haven't nearly shown you everything. There's one or 2 other things specifically saved until last. So there's the end of that train, snow clearing loco there. There's a train waiting to go back towards Budapest. Here we have a prototype metro car, and I keep thinking I can hear a train moving, perhaps I can't. Quite excitingly, look, there's another steam loco here. This looks like, I believe it is an HEV one, but looks a bit like what would have been, that train is going. Let's just watch that go, and then we'll continue. Yeah, the steam loco looks a bit like what would have been a MAV class 377, which I always think is funny because I think of a British Southern Railways class 377. There's one of these prints at Zara Gerseg, and there's also a similar one in the museum at Budapest, which I've also making a video on while on this trip. Let you just see the front of that prototype metro train there, and then we'll finish with this 1929 built electric locomotive. Again, quite a beast. I'd love to see that running. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for watching. Please do feel free to like, subscribe and comment. If you're in Budapest, do come and visit this museum. It's really well worth a visit. It seems to be open every day, perhaps closed on a Monday. So thank you very much for watching, and from the outside the depot at Szentendre, goodbye.